Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Double My E-commerce Sales. My name is Ala Hassan, and I am your host inside this group. The goal is to always share some valuable insights on how we can help you double your e-commerce sales in the next 12 months. I didn't choose 1 year. I didn't choose 3 months. I didn't say 6 months. I said 12 months because doubling your e-commerce sales do take a little bit of time. It requires a lot of work, consistency, and patience. And the type of stuff I'm going to share with you inside this group is to help you exactly do this in the coming months and get started immediately. So I know that some of you are joining us now live, and this video is being recorded at the same time. So for those who can't attend the live session inside the Facebook group, don't worry about it. The recording will stay inside the group for you to consume. And for those who are discovering this video outside of the group, for example, on YouTube, make sure to join us in this free community on Facebook. Great place to really learn some proven strategies that have worked for a lot of businesses in e-commerce for decades. And that's exactly the type of stuff I'm about to share with you. So let me know in the comments, how are you? Where are you calling from? Where are you attending from? And again, I'm going to go through some of this content today, and later on, I'll answer a lot of the questions. So make sure to engage in the comments of this video. I'll get back to you for those who are attending the live session. And this time, at the end of the video, if you're interested, if you're up for it, you can come on the show. I'll have you share your screen, your camera, and you can ask your questions live inside this video. So you can literally be a guest within this Facebook Live session. So that's a great way to engage with people, and also a great opportunity for you to ask me any question about today's topic. So let's get started. So I chose, obviously, when I started creating those topics for this group, I didn't want to jump into immediately the tactics. Because from my experience, what I've been noticing, not just this year, every single year, every time I speak to anyone who is struggling with getting sales, or they're actually getting sales, but they want to take it to the next level, a lot of times I notice there is some lack of planning, lack of knowledge, lack of preparation when it comes to the whole idea of let's grow our business. And that's why I'm covering a lot of critical topics that I feel that they need to be spoken about, they need to be talked about, because it is required within your foundation, within the structure of your e-commerce business, to address them immediately before it's too late. Because again, growth is a big thing to be embarked in, and it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of money in the future, and you don't want to be surprised suddenly by some challenges that could have been avoided if you were to take the time and prepare for them. So today's topic is obviously all about growth. Can you handle e-commerce growth? And this is a question that not only I'm asking you about, but it is something I ask every company I deal with. They come to us and they ask us, can you guys help us increase sales? Ala, based on your experience, what is it that you think we need to do to get more sales? Whether it's on Facebook, from Facebook, Instagram, on our website, from Google, from emails, you name it, all that stuff. So my first question to everyone who wants more sales is, can you handle growth? What do I mean by this? A couple of things. And I've kind of divided them into a couple of sections, and we're going to cover about 3 different areas within each section to simplify things. So the first thing is, more traffic means what? So obviously, when you're trying to grow the business, you can't grow it without driving traffic to your online store. That's the first thing you need to do. But if you step back and ask yourself, what happens if I was to increase traffic on my website? A bunch of things. One of them being, you're going to start increasing website issues. You're going to see an increase in the website issues that may happen or occur within your online store. Now, obviously, it depends on your technology. Sometimes you're using, for example, Shopify, which is a very strong platform that usually is able to handle the amount of new traffic that you're getting without having to worry about it, because the platform can scale easily. But other times, and I've seen this a lot, you may have a website running on, let's say, Magento, another type of shopping cart solution. And the server that you had set up, the environment, for example, can handle 1,000 people a day. But as soon as you drive, let's say, 2,000 people What happens? This means it's not just the traffic that you have to care about. People are using up the resources on your website, meaning they start searching for products. That requires more brain technology power. They start adding to cart, means everybody has their own basket and they're shopping. That requires more power from your website. Again, this means that it could impact the performance of your website fully across the board, meaning pages can load slower. You might start having errors. You might notice that inventory issues start popping up because people are buying too many things. People might see, let's say, for example, they go on a product page, the images don't load fast enough because there's too many people watching this product, and the list goes on. So when I talk about website issues, I'm looking at it from a technology perspective. A lot of things will happen. So my question to you, and this is something you want to take note of, when you start getting more traffic, what type of website issues can you anticipate? So there's an exercise I usually do, let's say, for example, during the planning for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Obviously, during the holidays, you usually see an increase of about 15% in traffic, 50% in traffic, in sales, depending on which industries you're in. So there are tools out there that can help you simulate this type of traffic to see if your website can handle it. So again, that's just one exercise. Obviously, if you're just getting started, you don't have to worry about these things. The whole point of this exercise is for you to understand that these things will come up, especially when you start growing your business. And website issues is important because if your website does not load, no sales. As much as you have, let's say, fast shipping, amazing customer service, a lot of inventory, the best prices, if your website does not load, people will simply leave and never come back maybe. And this could be catastrophic, especially on big holidays like Cyber Monday, Black Friday, the big retail holidays where people are expected to shop like crazy. And if this situation happens, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity, a lot of dollars, and eventually you're going to have to be somewhat prepared for next year. But it's too late, you missed out on it. So really, that's the first thing you really have to think about, which is website issues. What else? As you start, more traffic means what? Marketing budgets start increasing. Now, obviously, sometimes you might get traffic directly from people hearing about you. They might click on some Facebook posts that you've made. They might come directly from Google because you wrote a blog post and you're getting all this free traffic. So you're not paying technically for this traffic. It's coming to you directly. But most of the time, more traffic means that your marketing budgets are going to be impacted, whether you like it or not, especially when it comes to paid advertising. We're talking about Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram, Pinterest, affiliate marketing, all of these channels, even media, like let's say banners through Google's network, all of these require extra money. Now, are you ready to increase your marketing budget? Now, before you say, yes, I am, understand the impact on your cash flow. Remember, you're going to pay Facebook, you're going to pay Google once a week or when you hit a specific amount of ad spend. So let's say $700, $500. Every time you hit that, they're going to charge you. If you hit that and you haven't yet shipped your products, or you haven't dealt with returns, or you're dealing with customer issues or things that might delay payments, you got to pay employees, you got to pay your shipping fees to Canada Post, USPS, and so on and so forth. How will that impact your cash flow? Bigger issue is sometimes you will hit an issue where your credit card is being maxed out, especially for those who are getting started. Trust me, it ranks up really, really fast, these ad spend. So you might have your credit card on Facebook, you might have your credit card on Google, and you start advertising, even though you have set amounts of budgets. But at the end of the day, if your credit card maxes out, you got to pay it so that you make sure your ads stay active. Now, if you pay it, okay, you're increasing your advertising budget. How does that impact your cash flow? 1 month, can you do that? What happens if it's 2 months? So really, you need to think about these things. Don't just obsess. I want more sales. I want more traffic. I want more products. What happens if you get that? How will that impact your numbers? How will that impact your technology? So it's just something to think about. The third thing that you need to consider when more traffic means you're going to be dealing with customer issues. For example, and I'm not talking about customer issues pertaining to, let's say, where is my order? I'm talking about I should have said it, let's say customer sales issues, sales questions. People are going to come to the website. Guess what? The more traffic you start sending, many new things start coming up that you were not aware of because you have more people. So it's normal. People are going to start asking you questions about how much is your shipping? What is this product made out of? What are the ingredients of this product? Are you sure this is green or is it teal? Does it come with a warranty? What happens if I want to return it? All these questions. Can you ship it to me tomorrow? Can I get it tomorrow? What's your return policy? All these questions are coming up before even people clicking to add to cart, before even buying your items. So understand that when people are coming in, more traffic means more customer issues. How are they going to ask you these questions? There's only a bunch of ways. Number one, they might ask you through live chat. So if you have live chat on the website, guess what? It's going to be used. Are you able to answer these people on time? Because trust me, if I go to a website and I had this situation, I wanted to buy a billboard, a whiteboard for the academy, and I wanted to do some videos where I write on it, and because I'm home and let me do this. And I figured, let me go to this website, and I saw that they had live chat. I went online on live chat at around 7:50 p.m. and immediately someone answered, which I was like, oh, great. This is good customer service. Let me ask them my question, which was really about if I was to buy this, I might gonna have to pay for duty, taxes, and all that stuff. They answered me. Perfect. I didn't like the answer because it was too expensive. Then I said, you know what? Forget it. Nonetheless, I had a great customer service experience, and look, I'm talking about it. Now, if you have customers coming in, a lot of traffic coming into your website, and people start showing up on your live chat, and you say, we provide live chat, we have all that stuff, but there's no one to answer them on time, or you might be delayed by a couple of hours, what kind of impression does that make in front of customers? I mean, it's a negative experience from the get-go, and they haven't even purchased the item. So they lose confidence, they lose trust in your brand and what it is that you have to offer, that they ignore the price, they ignore everything. If you can't answer simple live chat questions, there's a big problem. Now, that's only live chat. What about the phone number? Some people calling you on your phone lines. What happens if 2-3 people call you? Can your phone lines handle multiple people calling? If people are going to call you and you make them wait, what happens? Are they going to listen to music? Can your system handle this? Is your phone system able to handle all of this stuff? What happens if someone stays for 5-10 minutes? Is there music in the background? What if they want to leave and just leave you a voicemail? Can they do that? Is that a great shopping experience? Again, all of these things have to be thought of before you obsess about more sales, because the reality is sometimes you have one chance to prove it to a customer. You're spending so much money trying to convert these customers, these shoppers, into actual customers. You don't want to mess it up because you didn't take the time to think about this, whatever I'm talking about right now in terms of growth challenges. And honestly, the list could go on and on and on. There's a lot more to consider, but I wanted to simplify things only to make sure that you get the whole idea behind it. More traffic means what? Website issues, marketing budgets, and customer issues that you will be dealing specifically related to sales questions. So that's the first thing you have to ask yourself. What happens when there's more traffic? Now, that's the first part. Let's assume everything is going well. Now people are going to start buying your product. Now that they put in their orders, what happens? Well, you're going to start having fulfillment issues. They're going to start increasing. What do I mean by this fulfillment? Whether it's you packing the product and shipping it, or you have a company handling it for you, or it's your employees in the warehouse handling all of this for you, you're going to have challenges across the board. I guarantee you, because I've seen it, I've had that experience as well. Whether it's launching an online store for my dad, or launching our own fulfillment department in the back in the warehouse. We had a 100,000 square foot warehouse when we were selling movies and video games back in the day. All of that does happen. And if you're dealing with a company who may be equipped, if they suddenly have an increase in orders that they did not anticipate, then guess what? Your orders are going to be delayed because they need bodies, they need people to fulfill those orders. So again, what happens when you start increasing your orders? You got to be ready for this. And again, it's all about you questioning not only your partners, your employees, but questioning the whole system that you have in place. Even if you're alone, simulate it. Calculate how long it takes you to currently, let's say you wake up in the morning and let's assume that you get 5 orders a day. You just got started. It's a small amount. Get a stopwatch on your phone. Okay. So put the stopwatch on and start calculating how long it takes you to pull up the orders on your computer, print the packing slips, print the invoices, print all that stuff. That's one task. Put it, log it in an Excel file, let's say, Google Sheets. Take note of that. Next step, now that you know what the customer ordered, if you're doing it from your office, obviously there's no warehouse walking and that, you got to pick the product. So you go in your room, your spare room, in your warehouse. That process of picking has to be logged as well. Again, use your stopwatch and see how long it takes you to pick this product. So you bring it back to your packing station. Write that down. Next step, next step is you bring up the order on your computer. Now it's time to pack it and prepare the shipment. So the packing should also be logged on its own. How long does it take you to package this order? So take the product, put it inside the box, put some fillers so that it doesn't move, it doesn't break as you ship it, put the invoice in there, put some tape, all that stuff. How long does that take? Write it down. And then it's time to ship it. You got to bring up your order, let's say on Shopify. You got to bring it up in your shipping tool or your Magento, whatever, a ship station, you name it. How long does it take you to bring up the order, click ship, update the tracking information, and choose your carrier and prepare it so that the printer prints out the label, you stick it on it, and it's ready for pickup. That's another time that you have to log. And you start seeing, well, to pack one order, and I'm not calculating maybe some delays that you may experience from, let's say, your computer loading slowly. You might be interrupted by someone. You might be talking to someone else and all these interruptions, because that will happen when you're dealing with employees. All of that. So you got to put some buffer in terms of all this time being wasted for small little things as you're shipping. You write all this down and you look into it. You say, well, if I had to ship 5 orders, every order takes me about 2.5 minutes. 5 orders takes me this much. Well, if you're shipping it to the post office, how long is it taking you to go to the post office? If a company is coming back, let's say the shipping company is coming in because you have large volumes, how much time does that take? An employee will have to bring up all these bags to the shipping truck and fill it up. And all this is time consuming. When you start multiplying 5, 10, 10x orders, 100 orders, 1,000, I've shipped one time 8,500 orders in one day. And I can tell you for a fact, when that day came, and it was in 2010, I believe. When that day came, everything just shut down. From the website to our shipping department not being able to ship on time, to our software, shipping software crashing on us because we could not fulfill all these orders on time, and employees being stuck in the warehouse from 7 a.m. till midnight trying to fulfill orders so that we make sure customers are going to be happy. And it wasn't 2-3 days. It was weeks of just getting used to shipping this volume. All of this requires some planning. And for you, it's not about thinking 8,000 orders, it's not about 3,000 orders. It's about understanding what happens if we double the amount of volume. How does that impact us? And you have some numbers to play with. Do you have the time? Do you have the manpower? Do you have the space? All of these issues. I mean, just think about it. If you're used to taking your packages by car and suddenly your volume increases and you can't go with one trip, you got to do 2-3 trips to the post office. Calculate that. How is that going to impact your gas consumption, your time, and all these things? So again, you don't want to be destroyed because of your e-commerce growth. You want to make sure you're ready for it. Next issue that you need to think about is delivery issues. Well, it's great. Pick, pack, ship. It's out the building. You're not done yet. There's the concept of the last mile now. Not even the last mile. Forget it. Now the product, your package is on its way. You're going to be dealing with issues, whether you're using USPS, FedEx, DHL, UPS, Canada Post, any company out there, they will sometimes lose your package. You will experience delays. If you're dealing with shipping from US to Canada, Canada to US, border issues, customs, all that stuff can happen. They may lose a whole cage. I've lost literally for some, our shipping carrier lost a whole cage, and a cage has usually about, I remember about 700 and somewhat packages. No, that one was, no, it was a couple of thousands, this one, because that was a big cage. They lost a cage. They just don't know where it went. And unfortunately, the way we were shipping them, these products, because they weren't high value products, they didn't have all of them tracking. And back in the day, it wasn't required. So I lost the whole cage. What happens now? We're dealing with delivery issues. Customers start contacting us. We got to deal with the post office. If we have insurance, whatever, and the back and forth, all of these things will happen. How are you planning for this? While you're dealing with the shipping company, dealing with all the customer headaches that are coming because of all these delays, you still have to conduct business, right? So who's going to be handling this? Again, have plans in place. Think about it. The last thing, again, customer questions are going to come up. One of the biggest questions that customer service gets is, where's my order? Especially if you're dealing with a clientele that has very high expectations on when should they expect your orders. When should they, expect to receive their orders. So questions will come up specifically about, where's my order? How long is it taking? Why is it taking so much time? Is there a tracking number? I didn't receive my order and it was supposed to come in this morning. It's now 2:00 in the afternoon. You'll have these questions. Are you ready to handle them? Are you ready? Because you know what? When you have a lot of orders, you will get them. Why? Because people are lazy. They have very high expectations. As soon as they confirm order, they expect the order yesterday. You know why? Because you have companies like Amazon, Walmart, all these big brands out there. They are shipping on time really, really, really fast. So you're up against these people. Even if you specify on your website, handling is about 1 to 2 business days. Expect your order to be received within 3 to 5 business days. Even if you have all that communicated ahead of time, people will still ask. Can you handle those questions? Live chat, phone, emails. So you got to be prepared. How do you make sure that all this information is communicated not only on your website, but through all your emails? How do you make sure you have a frequently asked section on your website? How do you make customers learn how to log into their account, go on order history, and view the status of their shipments? All of these things have to be thought of and planned out ahead of time so that you improve the shopping experience. And hopefully you hope that when the volumes increase, not everyone is going to start contacting you because you're communicating all these things. You're using the right tools to communicate also the status. Yeah, your order has been received. You send them a confirmation email. Your order is being packed right now. Send a confirmation or send them an SMS text message or a Facebook message. Nowadays, you're noticing that a lot of companies could potentially communicate with their buyers, not just through email, especially when it comes to transactional communications, not marketing. So if I usually get, let's say, a confirmation by text, your order has been received or your order has shipped, I'm okay with that. So maybe not a marketing message, but when you're giving me updates on my order, I'm okay. Can that reduce the amount of questions that you may have from customers? Possibly. Plan for this. So these are only 3 things I'm speaking about what happens when orders increase. There could be a lot more to think about. Next, now that you got more traffic, more orders, it means what? You've sold a lot more items now. What happens now? We're touching now the inventory side. When you start selling more, you're going to have more product issues, things like returns. It's normal. People will buy product. They expect to be able to return them if it does not meet their satisfaction. Yes, maybe they'll have to pay for return shipping. You're not paying for it. You've delivered something as expected on time, and they just feel, I don't want it. It doesn't fit. It's not the right size. It's not what I wanted. It's not as described. Again, you have to deal with all these issues, but you have to expect to have returns. Nonetheless, as soon as volumes increase, your growth, it impacts on returns volumes. So again, how are you going to handle this? Not only handling the issues dealing with the customers of asking you, can I return it? And what's the process? And you're going to start getting packages back. Someone has to open these packages. Someone has to verify the products. If they're still in good condition, they can still sell it. And then you'll have to go back into the account of the customer, process a refund minus whatever rules you have in place for returns items, notify the customer that it's been refunded, take the product back, make sure it's in the right condition so that you can sell it. Or sometimes you may have to eat it and just say, you know what, the customer's not happy, but I can't sell it. It's used, it's whatever it is. And you might have to sell it at a discounted price or discard it and get rid of it somehow through another channel. But then you have to deal with this inventory sitting there and it accumulates with time. Think about it. What are you going to do about this? You're going to have also something called with regards to inventory quantities. So your volumes are going to start increasing. So you have 10 of these available for sale. You start driving more traffic. more people are buying it. Guess what? You're down to zero. Can you handle out of stocks? How fast can you have these products back in stock? How long does it take your manufacturer to ship it to you? How long does it take for your drop shipping company to get the item back in stock? Because drop shippers can also run out of stock. How do you handle this? What happens if you run out of stock? Are you going to just remove the item from your website? Or are you going to allow people to purchase things even when they're out of stock, but you tell them it's back ordered? Are you going to allow people to be notified by email if the product comes back in stock, and so on and so forth? But again, you're going to start noticing that, oh, wow, I'm enjoying this amount of growth. But at a certain point, it's not going to last, especially when you run out of stock. Now, next time you'll say to yourself, well, you know what? I sold 10 now. I sold 100. Well, this means next time you might buy a bigger quantity. But now you're increasing your inventory costs. Now you're going to have to spend more money to buy more product. It will sit in your warehouse, or you might have to deal with the fact that it's going to affect your cash flow, because you have to, they might give you 30 days to pay it, or 60 days. Some of the wholesalers, if you have great credit or good relationship with them. But that's something you have to think about. Great. 1 month, it's great to have growth. But if you have all this growth in 1 month and you've destroyed your business, your customer service can't handle it, your shipping can't be made fast, you have a hard time packing it on time, your employees are getting tired and overworked and that, and only for next month to say to yourself, well, I can't do the same amount of sales because I don't have enough inventory. I'm still waiting for my shipment from my wholesaler or my supplier. What's the point? Well, just spread out that growth over 2, 3, 4 months. And slowly, as you improve your efficiencies, your procedures in place, then slowly start growing. Don't expect to have this much growth immediately. It's healthier to go like this. Yes, you hear a lot about companies within e-commerce, how they've achieved crazy growth. Guess what? A lot of these companies, those that you hear a lot of, with the Wayfairs, the Caspers, guess what? Zero profits. They're funded. Whether it's venture capitalists, VCs, or private investors, whatever it might be, some of them are going into the stock market, and then zero profit, some of them. Unfortunately, we don't talk about that. We just look at how they advertise themselves. Look at their beautiful branding. Look at their creativity when it comes to email marketing. Look at all that stuff. Again, the reality is not everyone is actually making money, and don't be sucked into this. Sometimes more sales does not necessarily mean more profits. So be smart about how you go about trying to drive growth for your e-commerce business. It's better to spread the growth, not over 1 month, but run it over, let's say, 3 months, and slowly increase it. At least you have time to adjust. You have time to improve your procedures. You have time for employees to catch on to it. Your budgets are not getting depleted in marketing. Your volumes are not destroying your operation. Your customer service is not getting impacted. Your branding is not, your first impressions, and so on and so forth. And the fact that customers are going to be happy, and potentially they'll come back again and purchase from you. So why are you so being rushed in terms of growth? Keep it simple, start small, but plan things ahead of time. The last thing that you need to consider when it comes to product items sold is product selection issues. So let's say you have an online store that sells 3 different types of bracelets, and suddenly 2 out of 3, they run out. You don't have any more stock. You have new customers coming in. Inventory levels are low. You're running out of stock. Guess what? There's a new breed of customers coming in that now maybe they wanted the red bracelet that you never carried, because now you have a wide array of types of customers coming into your shop. Their needs are different. Their interests are different. Your selection might not satisfy them. So you need to look out the possibility of expanding your product selection, your product offering. You might need different sizes of products. Maybe I want to have bundle packs. I want to have things not in 2 colors, maybe in 4 or 5 colors. I might need to carry sizes for t-shirts. I used to carry, let's say, small, medium, large, extra large. I might look into, well, now I need XXX, I need XXX. These are sizes that I never had to carry because I never had these customers come to my store. Now I'm getting a good amount of audience from a specific state or specific city that has bigger people, and that's, you know what, they need bigger size. I might get bodybuilders buying my product, and you know what, I don't have these sizes. Again, product selection can technically impact you. If I come to your store and you had 15 products in your store, and then suddenly 6, 7 of these items are no longer available, what kind of impression am I going to get from you? First of all, the shopping experience is going to get ruined. Every time I search for something, it's out of stock. What's the point of this? So again, you really have to anticipate all of these issues, and they will happen, because as soon as the traffic increases and grow and sales increase, slowly, the shopping behavior of your customers changes. Your website can't keep up with these things, and someone has to be paying attention to all these numbers, this analytics, in order for you to be able to adjust and tweak as needed. So, some homework for you. Now, before I let you go, I like to give you some to-do things so that you can really plan for this type of e-commerce growth. 4 things you need to ask yourself. Do this exercise, really sitting down either with your partners, your spouse, your team, your shipping department, your inventory, the whole company. Just sit down and talk about this. First thing, what would happen if we were to 10x more traffic? Meaning, technology-wise, what's going to happen to our website? For example, I can tell you for a fact that when you're running, let's say on Magento, okay? Let's say you're running your website on Magento and you have your website, your server, and you have your, let's say, they call this a content delivery network. You're using an Akamai system to make the website load faster. That's what it is. A CDN is something that we use to make sure that the website loads faster. These kind of services, now if you're on Shopify, it's already included, but let's say on other websites, it may not be. These services cost you more if you get more traffic. Now, there's a lot of services out there. If you have a nice site search, you might find a tool like a Nextopia or SearchSpring or SLI Systems. All these search tools, they will charge you more if you get more traffic. So what happens if your traffic is 10x or 20 or 30 times, 50 times more, especially during, let's say, the holiday season? What additional cost can you anticipate from a technology perspective? And don't just look at the website, look at everything. Example, something that you need to consider. What if you start getting more questions in customer service and you have a customer service ticketing system, let's say like a Zendesk, okay? Usually Zendesk and a lot of the software solutions out there, they will charge you per seat, per user. So if I have 3, and that has happened to me, if I have 3 customer service reps, and you know what? I start getting a lot of questions. I start getting a lot of live chats, and I need to answer these customers. What happens? This means I will have to hire someone. If I hire 1, 2, 3 people, additional people to help me satisfy all this need, what does that mean? I got to pay more for that software, and that's only one software. Make sure that you cover all the different types of softwares that power up your whole e-commerce operation. What happens if you 10x, triple, whatever it is? That's the first thing you need to ask yourself. Second thing you need to ask is what would happen if you 10x your order volumes? Obviously, a lot will happen. Will PayPal shut you down or not suspend you, sorry. Will they hold your money? And that has happened. If they suddenly see an increase in orders, they might send you an email. Whoa, hold on. We're going to hold your money for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, just to make sure that you don't have any issues, that you're going to fulfill these orders on time. Because if these customers are not happy, they're going to go back to PayPal and complain, and then that could penalize you. Could be penalized from this. So, are you ready for this? How will that impact your cash flow if PayPal is keeping that money? How are you going to handle all fraudulent orders? You're going to see if you get more orders, more fraud. That's a guarantee, especially if you're selling high-ticket items. What happens then? What happens to your payment fees? So obviously, if you're on Shopify, for example, they take a percentage of each sale. If you're on other shopping carts, any merchant processor is going to charge you a percentage. How does that impact you? If you're a big company and you're running, let's say, Avalara, which is the tax software system, you pay sometimes per transaction. Some of the fraudulent fraud detecting softwares, they will charge you per transaction. How is that going to impact your fulfillment side? All of these things have to be considered. Again, sit down with your teams and evaluate this. Next, we're talking about customer service now. What happens if you get more customer questions? 10x more live chats at the same time, more phone calls at the same time, a lot of emails. What happens if people shopping from your website, on your website, let's say they come from California, but you're based out of New York? How does that impact you? What if you're shipping out worldwide? People that are in Australia might shop from you, but then you're sleeping and they're trying to buy your items. They have questions. How will you handle this? What happens if your people are shopping from you from Europe? They're 8 hours ahead. So again, all these things have to be all considered because it will impact you. How are you going to adapt? Again, ask yourself, 10x that, 50 times, 100 times if you have to. What will happen, and what if it does? What is the plan there? Are you going to increase anything in terms of employees, in terms of software, in terms of whatever it might be? Again, things to consider. And the last thing you need to really think about is what happens if you 10x or if you sell 10 times more products? Again, talk about inventory issues. Can you handle more inventory space? Do you have space to store inventory? Do you have the money to buy this inventory upfront? Can your drop shipper, your suppliers satisfy these volumes or not? Maybe you'll need to find a backup supplier because there's too much inventory that you need to, and they can't handle it. Again, that happens. So how will you handle it? And how will that impact also the shopping experience on your website? If 50% of your items are out of stock, guess what? People are simply not going to convert. People are going to feel that this website is a joke. I don't want to bother with this. Again, you spend so much money driving all of this traffic only to realize they're not converting. Guess what? You lost more money now on the marketing, on the advertising. You can't even ship it. You're getting questions about these products. And in the end, they're not even converting. So you're losing out on not only the money that you had to spend on traffic and servicing these customers, but you're losing out on the sale because you don't even have the inventory because you're sold out and you can't afford buying it. So all these things, really, the whole point of this is to make you realize that, you know what, if you want to grow your business, just anticipate that growth requires a lot of planning. It's not made for everyone. So sometimes you want to take it slow. Plan it properly. You want to slowly open the faucet, not just immediately open it and for things to overflow in your operation. You want to open it slowly, start sending more traffic, see how you adapt. Then from there, you start increasing it as you grow, as you start tweaking the operation. And that is it. So really, I wanted to cover, this is the wrong slide, but I wanted to cover these things and really make sure that you guys understand what e-commerce growth is all about. And it's not just about more sales. Last video, we spoke about why do you want more sales? But now let's say you start getting it. Are you ready? Can you handle it? And from my experience, honestly, a lot of times, and this is not just small websites, it's really established brands. Sometimes companies get destroyed during the holiday season because they did not anticipate that they're going to get so much traffic. So many sales come through, so many shipments to ship during the Black Friday week, the Cyber Monday, Boxing Day, that eventually they start off the new year in a bad way because they're still shipping orders from customers, for customers that have ordered way before Christmas, but you just shipped all your gifts too late. These customers are long gone. I mean, expect them to never come back because chances are you've ruined their whole Christmas. Let's say it was a gift for someone. And then eventually you'll be like, oh, I mean, I spent so much money acquiring this customer. Guess what? They're not making a second purchase from you. And most of the time, we lose money on the first order. E-commerce makes money on additional purchases that the customers make directly from you because you're paying less to acquire them. So why would you ruin your chances of increasing the amount of times a customer would purchase from you? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And that's why it's very important for you to plan your growth and adjust accordingly as needed. I hope this was useful. I hope it gave you a good perspective of what to expect. And if you have any questions, if you're attending this live right now, you can ask me directly inside the Facebook video. In the comments, I'll go through them right now. Eventually afterwards, you can also leave your questions. I'll get back to them later on if you're watching this when it's recorded. So don't feel like you can't ask questions even though you're watching the recording. And for those who are attending live, if you would like to come on live as a guest in here, I could do this with the software, and you want to ask me directly, I don't mind doing this as well. So let me know in the comments. Was this beneficial? Do you have any questions about this? Any specific concerns, or you want to share your challenges with regards to growth and how should you be addressing them? I'm all here and I'm available for you to answer any of those concerns. So let me check the video. Let me check the comments. Give me a second. Everyone. All right, so I just gotta make sure I'm putting the right video. I hope this was really. I see, now I'm going inside, so I see Felicitas, I see Ahmad saying, excellent tips, thank you, you're welcome. Jean-Yves is in the house, great, excellent. So again, growth is a great thing to experience if you're prepared for it. And that's one thing, the goal of this session right now was to really give you a taste of it. And again, I did not really cover everything because there's a lot more to consider, but enough for you to be aware of what does it require. Any questions? So a question from Ahmad saying, can e-commerce apply for subscription? Of course. When you're talking about subscription, are you talking about a subscription model e-commerce where you get a package every month? Or are you talking about software subscription, like a SaaS, software as a service, so you're paying for a software on a monthly basis? Can you just let me know in the comments, which one is it? Product is a membership for a service. So obvious, so service like, let's say, coaching, monthly coaching, let's say, training, or software service. I just want to make sure because, you know, there's a couple of ways of looking at it from a membership. Until you answer me if it's a software service or a service that is delivered from someone like, let's say, a trainer selling coaching sessions. The only thing you have to consider when it comes to, let's say, a service that is being delivered by you, let's say, for example, you're a trainer and you're giving you're providing a service to your members as in one-on-one training. Obviously, if you start getting a lot more traffic and you're doing one-on-one, you're going to be limited in terms of availability. So at a certain point, you have 40 hours, you have 24 hours in a day, or, I mean, we're all humans. We need our sleep, we need to eat, we need to relax. You don't want to overburn yourself. So if you're providing one-on-one, then obviously you're going to be limited as soon as you get more people wanting your service. You're going to have to also consider that it's one thing to say, well, I have 8 hours, I can give more one-on-one sessions, but you still have to allocate some time to manage your business. So administration, some marketing, customer service questions, invoices, you're dealing with tech problems, all those things. So you have to consider these things. Now, what happens next? So let's say you're providing one-on-one, you may think about doing group coaching. That could be a way for you to improve the operation. Now, you may charge, let's say, $500 a month a person for one-on-one, but then you tell people, listen, I'm getting a lot of demand right now. Maybe I'm going to start offering a new product called group coaching. It's going to cost you less. It may be $250, but you're going to be in a group of, let's say, 10 to 15 people. I don't mind. I'm getting a discount. So why not? I might do that. So that's one approach. And then eventually, if you have thousands of people and you just can't answer all these questions in terms of a service, then you may want to create more of a self-serve type of program, a course or training, pre-recorded training that people can go through. And you see that through a lot of the fitness apps. Their product becomes into an app, and they pre-record all the videos, and people consume these at their own time, within their own devices. They never have to meet you. And if they want to speak to you, it's very difficult. You may not offer one-on-one sessions. So that's one way. When it comes to subscription, let's say, when we're talking, I know that's a little bit outside of e-commerce, but some e-commerce companies may have these services, additional ones. When it comes to software subscription, obviously technology becomes a challenge. Can you handle, can your software handle more than 500 people using that software at the same time? Will that have an impact on your technology, on your servers? Well, this means you got to upgrade your technology. More people, more needs, meaning your software might no longer satisfy some of their needs, the features that are there. So they may start asking you, can you add this? Can you add that? So do you have the developers available to start adding all these features, testing them, making sure they work, and actually launching them and not impacting the performance? Because as soon as you stop updating your software, guess what happens? People are going to leave because the competition is doing a better job than you. So again, the concept of growth applies to anything digital commerce, and that's why I like the word digital commerce. We're not talking about just physical products. We're talking any transaction that occurs on the internet, whether it's for a one-on-one service, a digital download, it could be for a software or for a physical product. Growth challenges are dealt or experienced across the board. So it's not just e-commerce. So I hope that answers your question, Ahmad. Any other questions for the people that are here, and whoever wants to join me in the session, who's willing to come inside the video with me and ask it, I don't mind doing that as well. If you get a chance to like the video, love it, whatever it is, please do so. Again, for those who don't have questions, please leave me your feedback about the topic. Was that helpful or not? As well as if you have additional topics you would like me to cover, do mention them inside the comments, because that's going to also help me plan out future videos for the group. So Ahmed is saying, yes, thank you. Okay, great. So plan it right and have growth as part of it. Whether to move from a shared to a dedicated server. Exactly. So again, it goes for the same thing for your website. You might start with a shared hosting, a simple account within your server. And as the traffic starts increasing, upgrade. And if you're in the cloud, I mean, Amazon, for example, servers allow you to grow as the traffic increases, and you only get charged for the volume. So there are many solutions out there, especially when it comes to technology, and it's a lot cheaper than ever before, especially when you can justify it. You know, when you start selling more, you're making more money technically, so it makes sense. Any additional questions? Anything else you would like to ask? I don't see anything else. This means either it's good. And so if that's the case, you know what? That's it. Then we're going to call it the end of this video. So again, thank you very much for attending today's session. I hope you really enjoyed it and it makes you think a little bit about growth. And I'll see you. Make sure you put the comments again. If you're watching this when it's recorded, add some comments, add some questions, and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the evening and see you next time. Bye-bye.